Hi everyone, Jackie here with Enjoying Life's Journey. Welcome back to the channel. And Elsa's gonna sit here hopefully quietly. So I wanted to do a quick update for you guys. I haven't, if you've noticed, I haven't posted any videos in a couple weeks. I've been dealing with some major health issues, mostly pertaining with my kidney. So you can kind of see that I may not look too great, and honestly, I don't feel great at all. I know my channel is Enjoying Life's Journey, and honestly right now I'm not really enjoying this part of the journey, but it is part of my journey. I haven't shared with you guys, what was going on. I've actually been dealing with this since, I've kind of been dealing with my symptoms and everything since June. And in August, I actually was in the hospital for 3 days and I had surgery. And I didn't really tell you guys about it because we thought we had fixed the problem. But that's not the case. So I've actually spent another 3 days in the hospital. I've had another surgery, and now I'm working with a urologist, and now I need to work with my gynecologist. So I have some major things going on. I've lost maybe like 7 pounds during this whole ordeal, and I am a very petite person, so I can't afford to lose any more weight. It's just what it is. I just want to give you guys a heads up because I haven't been posting, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be posting a whole lot during October while I kind of get through this. And also, a lot of you guys have become, sorry my voice is going, a lot of you guys have become like my friends from afar, so I feel like I should kind of let you know, just give you a heads up of what's going on. The other reason I share this stuff with you guys is if you can learn from it in any way. Either you can learn from, you know, trying to have a decent attitude about life, things that happen to you, or if you can learn from some of the symptoms that I've had leading up to it, to help you in your own health, anything like that. That's kind of why I'm sharing it. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about, I'm going to tell you what's going on with my kidney, or at least what we thought was going on and what might be going on now. And I'm going to tell you about everything that I've had done, but I'm kind of tell you this backstory of the health of my kidney with that. So if you're kind of interested in knowing what's going on with my kidney and my health, and maybe, you know, learning the signs and symptoms for yourself or something like that, then stick around. Basically what's going on is right now as we sit, I have a stent in my left ureter. So I'll show you a picture of the last one I had taken out. Okay, so what the stent is, it's a little tube, and it has 2 curlicues. One goes in your kidney, the other one, so it goes in your kidney, and then it goes all the way down your ureter, and the other one goes in your bladder. And what the purpose of that is, it's to drain the urine out of your kidney. So the reason this would be done is because if you have kidney stones, or if you have something blocking your ureter, or your ureter has narrowed or something like that, where it's preventing the urine from draining, they will put that stent in there. So this is technically my, let's see, 1, 2, 3, this is my 6th stent in this kidney. I had 3 back in 2014, and I'll talk to you guys about that story here in a minute. And this is my 3rd one now. I had this one placed about a week ago, actually. I think it's Wednesday. So last Wednesday I was in the hospital. I had this one placed, and this one will be in for 6 weeks. Normally they're only in for like a week or two, because usually it's because you've had a stone and they remove the stone, and then they just place the stent in there for about a week, and then you're good. But the thing is, I have some issues where my ureter is, they call a stricture. There's a stricture in my ureter. I'll show you a picture of the diagram here. So my kidney wasn't able to drain. So as you can imagine, this was causing major health issues. It was causing quite a bit of pain. And if it wasn't treated, I could have lost my kidney. So it's good that we found it. Just a bit of advice, you guys, is like, listen to your body. If you're feeling lethargic, if you're having like pain, even though it's not like that big a pain, if it's just a little bit of pain, if you're having any kind of pain, pressure, whatever it is, like get it checked, because you just don't know. Okay, so that's what I'm dealing with right now. The thing is, my doctor thought the stricture was from maybe scar tissue because I've had kidney stones, and I'll talk about that. Before, I had kidney stones back in 2014, and I had kidney stones here in August. So he thought it was from that. So we thought basically we would put a stent in, let the kidney drain, and then in about a week they'd probably do reconstructive surgery on the ureter. So they'd remove the damaged part and then reconnect the good part. Unfortunately, once we did the CAT scan and once he got in there with the camera, it turns out there's nothing wrong with the ureter. There's something from the outside that must be pushing against the ureter. So what they did when I was in the hospital this last time was he dilated it. So he used this little balloon to dilate my ureter, and he said he left it open for about 10 minutes. And then he took a biopsy. We're just gonna, on the safe side, biopsies are basically they remove some of the tissue and they are just checking it, make sure there's no cancer or abnormal cells or anything like that. So he did that, and then he placed the stent, and he basically said, I've done everything that I can do. He's a urologist, so he's done everything he can do on his end. And so now I need to see a gynecologist. So while I was in the hospital, they did have me do an ultrasound on my ovaries. And I do have a cyst on my left ovary. How significant it is, we don't know. So I actually meet with my gynecologist on Friday to see what other tests or anything else that we need to do to see what's going on there. So I did have my tubes tied when I was my last pregnancies back in 2014. So I'm probably just going to make sure that he checks everything out and make sure there's, not something, scar tissue or something growing on that side. They may test for ovarian cancer as well, something just to make sure that, to find out what's causing it, because something is causing my ureter to basically narrow or collapse, and then my kidney's not able to drain. So this is it's a serious situation, and it's frustrating because we don't know exactly what's going on. So it's kind of where we stand right now. Is I have a stent in for 6 weeks, and it's kind of like one of those, like, during that 6 weeks we find out what sorry, my daughter's loud. We find out what the problem is from the outside of the ureter, or if they don't find anything, it's kind of one of those, we take out the stent in 6 weeks and we monitor it and see if it decides to stay open or not. I mean, it's frustrating. But, I have a tube side, so that could be something relevant to that. Another thing I haven't discussed on this channel, because it was 10 years ago, was I actually had cervical cancer back in 2007. I had surgery. I had a portion of my cervix removed, and I've been cancer-free for 10 years. So I want to keep my fingers crossed that I don't have like ovarian cancer or something. I'm thinking maybe it's just the cyst on my ovary that happens to be pushing on my ureter. So we'll find out from the gynecologist. They'll do more tests and find out for sure. But the biggest thing is I've just been dealing with my kidney. So when you're dealing with things, when your kidney is not working, when it's not draining properly, it can't work and you can get really sick. And it could eventually, the kidney itself could die, which is life-threatening. We need our kidneys to survive. Obviously, we only need one kidney. That's why people can donate kidneys. So, if I were to lose the one kidney, then I would still be okay. But then if something were to happen to my other kidney, it's going to put your life at jeopardy, needing to go through dialysis or a kidney transplant or something like that, which is really something I don't want to go through. So I'm just glad that we're kind of catching it early on, but it's been rough. It's been rough the last couple months. I just haven't been feeling good at all. So I'm going to kind of talk to you guys real quick. So go back to story real quick. So when I was 2014, I was pregnant with Elsa. I ended up with kidney stones, and they can't do anything while you're pregnant. You can't have CAT scans while you're pregnant, so you can't really tell like how big they are or where they're at or anything like that. So I had a stent in for that time. It was extremely painful because I was pregnant, and that's when we started figuring out that I had IC, the inflammatory disorder of my bladder, and it's mostly because that stent is in there rubbing around. So it was extremely painful for me. Honestly, having those kidney stones was worse than giving birth to my first child. It was worse than being pregnant. It was horrible. I was in the bed rest for that last trimester of my pregnancy. Once I had Elsa, I did have my tubes tied. A week later, I had the stent and the stone removed, and then everything kind of seemed to be okay. But ever since then, I have had some discomfort, some weird pinching, things over by my ovary, by where my fallopian tube is, and I kind of just ignored it. So you guys, don't ignore that stuff, because it could be something that's causing a huge problem. So now fast forward to June of this year. So June this year, I had about 3 days where my kidney was bothering me. So I was kind of due for my yearly women exam anyway, so I went ahead and scheduled my appointment. By the time I went to the doctor, my kidney pain had gone away. So they just did their routine pap smear, and they did end up doing some blood work, because he said, well, if you had something going on with your kidney, it would show up in the blood work. I also had them test me for diabetes, because my mom recently became diabetic, my grandmother was diabetic, and because I was feeling such like crap, I was feeling so bad, I just didn't know what was going on. And the blood work came back that those things were fine, everything was in normal range, so I kind of just went on with my life. But I still was feeling very tired. I wasn't really hungry that much, and I didn't really think much about it at the time. I just thought maybe I was getting run down. The other thing was I was going to the bathroom a lot more, like during the night, and I didn't really think too much about it. I thought, well, I'm drinking way more water, so of course I'm gonna go to the bathroom more. Well, then August 3rd came, and it was a Thursday, and I woke up again, my kidney was hurting. Within 2 hours, my whole body was aching, like when you have the flu, you have those full-on body aches. I had a fever, I had the chills, I was aching, I was just like, like that. I was popping ibuprofen like crazy. My husband was at work, so as soon as my husband got home from work, I said, take me to the ER. And you guys, a lot of you don't know me on this level as far as me on my health level, but I have a pretty high pain tolerance. So for me to be like, I need to go to the ER means that I feel like I'm dying. And if I feel like I'm dying, somebody else would probably be passed out or throwing up from the pain. That was the other thing. When I had the kidney stones the first time, I've never thrown up from pain, but that was so painful. I was throwing up. My body was throwing up because I was in that much pain. It was just crazy. So this time I go to the ER, and they start flushing me with fluids. They thought for sure, yeah, you have a kidney infection. They did a CAT scan. Turned out I had 2 stones, and 1 stone was actually blocking my ureter, so my kidney couldn't drain, and that's why I had such a massive infection. So I was hooked up to IV antibiotics. I was in the hospital for 3 days. They went to do the surgery to remove the stone, but I was so sick. My body was fighting this so hard that they couldn't keep me under anesthesia. My blood pressure was dropping, my heart was racing. They basically said, we kept you long enough to put a stent in there to open up the blockage, and that's all they could do. So this was in August, and I did a video on my minimalist makeup, and I had mentioned I was on antibiotics that caused me to break out. Well, that's at that time I actually was sitting there with a stent, and I was on these antibiotics. That time, once they put the stent in, I wasn't in too much pain. Surprisingly, I wasn't taking any of the pain medication they gave me, and it seemed to be okay. And then about a week later, I had the surgery. They removed the stone, they placed a new stent in, and then the day before our trip, I mentioned to you guys I had a doctor's appointment. Well, I was having the stent removed that day, so that's what I was having done. So I didn't mention any of that because I thought they took the stone out, the stent's out, everything's fine, I've had these before, I'm good, like what's the point of sharing it? Well, that's not the case. So he said at that time he noticed I had a stricture in the ureter, a narrowing in the ureter, that he was finding it even difficult to get his camera there. So he said my urologist wanted to monitor that. So he, 3 weeks after they removed the stent, we had a ultrasound, and sure enough, my left kidney was completely swollen, full of urine. I'll go ahead and try to show you a picture from my CAT scan. So it was clear that my kidney was not draining, so that the stricture was definitely there, but I didn't have any stones. So the doctor felt the whole reason that first stone even got stuck in the first place is because of this stricture, this narrowing in my ureter, because it was a very small stone that should have passed by itself. So originally, we're thinking, oh, I got stones again. We're questioning what I'm eating. And then we find out it has nothing to do with the stones, has nothing to do with what I'm eating. It's the ureter itself is, we thought. So I went, so about 4 weeks after having that other stent removed, I started having all that pressure again. I started having the pain. So my urologist said, our options are we have to do a CAT scan and we have to place a stent, and kind of see where are we at. So the idea of the CAT scan, this time they did the with contrast, so they put like iodine in your bloodstream through an IV and they do the CAT scan so they can see how the whole urinary tract is functioning. So they did that. Sure enough, my kidney was still like totally blown up. And the thing is, he said, when we went in for surgery, so I ended up going, okay, so let me back up. So he said, well, let's do the CAT scan, and then they scheduled me to have the stent placed on a Thursday. Well, I had the CAT scan on Monday. Tuesday morning, about 1 in the morning, I was in so much pain. I told Ricky, just take me to the ER. There's no way I can wait till Thursday to have my kidney drained. It was just insane. And keep in mind, this whole time I had been losing weight, not really eating that great. Yeah, so I went to the hospital. So it was like Tuesday at 1 in the morning. I had Ricky take me to the ER, and I brought the CD from the CAT scan, and I basically just told them, hey, I have a stricture in my ureter. I'm scheduled to have a stent placed on Thursday, but I'm in so much pain, there's no way I can wait. So the ER doctor actually looked at my CAT scan, and he's like, yeah, he goes, we're gonna admit you, we're just gonna admit you to the hospital now, and we'll just treat it here because your kidney is clearly struggling. It's like a balloon. So they got me into a room pretty quick. And then I just told them to go ahead and call my urologist rather than dealing with the on-call urologist, because I've already been dealing with, a doctor. So my urologist, he actually called me. He wasn't able to come down to the hospital, but he called my room, so we spoke over the phone, and he mentioned, he could look at the CAT scan, on his computer, and that he went ahead and got me scheduled for the following morning. So we were able to do the surgery, put the stent in like a day early. It was only a day earlier, maybe a day and a half earlier than I was scheduled. But at least being in the hospital, they were able to have me up to, the IV fluids. They were able to get antibiotics going through me, and they were able to manage my pain. So, yeah, so I had that. Basically, then he looked at the CAT scan, and before I went into surgery, he said, from the CAT scan, your ureter looks good up until the point where it reaches your ovaries, and it goes behind the ovaries, and then he couldn't see it. So once he was in there, and he was in there with the camera, he said that the ureter itself, there's no scar tissue there. He can't really see what would be causing the stricture. So he ordered for an ultrasound and for me to meet with a gynecologist while I was in the hospital. It was a very frustrating thing. I sat there for a whole nother day before they finally did the ultrasound, and then my urologist calls me and says, hey, you should be okay to go home, just meet with your own gynecologist. So I was kind of mad because I didn't meet with a gynecologist at the hospital, and they kind of just was like, well, we've dealt with the kidney issue, so on you go. So I was kind of upset with the way that was handled. Either way, the biggest issue, which was my kidney not draining, which was causing infections and everything else, is temporarily dealt with. So like I said, so basically right now I have a stent in. I just finished my antibiotics here at home. They have me on these they're like a spasm medication, just so my bladder doesn't keep trying to push the stent out. This time though, I'm a lot more uncomfortable. When I had the stone in August and I had the stent in, I was fine. I didn't have to take any pain medication. This time I've had to take pain medication. I'm pretty sore where they dilated the ureter and where they took the biopsy. It's a week later and I'm still kind of sore on that side. And I can feel that, you know, in the front here where my ovaries and stuff are. I've definitely been having a lot of, like, I call it like a pinching pain, and I've ignored that pain before because I just thought it was associated with my cycle and things like that, but it's actually a lot more of a significant pain, and it does actually hurt quite a bit more when I have a bowel movement. I know it's too much information, you guys, but that's life, it's your anatomy. Friday I will meet with my gynecologist and we'll kind of go from there. I guess it's, you know, just one of those, we'll wait and see what's going on. In the meantime, though, I have been drinking like Ensure drinks on top of my meals. I'm just trying to gain back some of the weight I lost. My appetite is still kind of I'm not really that hungry, so everything is definitely not healed altogether. So it's kind of want to give you guys a heads up. You know, I haven't been feeling good. I've been dealing, you know, with this whole issue. So I just want to give you guys a heads up. I don't know if I'll be posting too many videos during. I'm also, you guys know, I was going to work for Amazon's warehouse for the seasonal job. I was supposed to start on September 30th. I have pushed my start date back, so I'm actually supposed to start this Saturday. They have put me in a different position though. It's like the ICQA or IQA or something like that, where I shouldn't be having to do as much walking. My urologist said that I am okay to work with my stent in place. Like I said, I'm gonna have my stent in for 6 weeks, so there's no way I could go another 6 weeks without working. We had planned on me working, so I'm gonna be working, but I'm gonna take it easy. They've been, like I said, they were allowed me to push my start date back, which was nice, and they put me in a different position that should hopefully, I shouldn't have to walk around as much as some of the other positions. So I'll keep you guys posted on those. I did do a video. I already filmed our quarterly budget video, but I did that before I ended up in the hospital. And so I may go ahead and still post that video, and just keep in mind that the numbers for October are not the same anymore, because I'm only going to be working, you know, I'll only get maybe 1 paycheck in October instead of the 4 paychecks or the 3 paychecks, whatever I was averaging it's supposed to be. So that's the only thing. So I might go ahead and do that. Ricky and I did sit down and do the questions for the Q&A. And I don't know, we may refilm it, or I may just try to edit it like crazy and see what I can even get from it. At the time, I wasn't feeling that good. We filmed it like a day before I ended up in the hospital or something. I wasn't feeling that good, and so our answers were kind of short and not very great. So I don't know, I may not even post that one. Other than that, I don't have any other videos that are already like filmed for me to put out. I know you guys wanted to see my minimalist wardrobe lookbook. So when I'm feeling a little bit better, I might go ahead and film that for you guys. And I did have some other finance topics that I wanted to talk to you guys with. So I may just wait till November on that. And we have a big trip coming up next year that I want to talk to you guys about, because it is relevant to my new business, and I wanted to kind of invite everybody to it. So stay tuned. No, I haven't forgotten about you guys. I've just been feeling really down and out, and I'm just trying to push through this right now. So again, I basically was just sharing it with you guys. So just listen to your bodies, you guys. Like, learn to listen to your bodies. I've said this before when I talked about my nutrition plan, and it was like, when you eat certain foods, just pay attention to how your body reacts to them. How is your energy level? Do you know, all of that stuff. Pay attention to that stuff regularly, and that way, like, you can catch things. Like, I've caught what's going on simply because I wasn't feeling good and I wasn't hungry, and that's something that's not normal for me. So just knowing your body and listening to your body. You know, and you guys, you've all said a lot of times in my other videos when I've shared difficult situations, you know, us losing the RV and things like that, you say that, you know, Ricky and I are, you know, we're positive and you like our attitudes. And honestly, that's just what you have to do. You have to have a good attitude. And even though you're going through a rough time, it's kind of what helps you go through the rough time, is by just, you know, we choose our attitudes, we choose how we choose to be. And again, I wasn't sure I was even going to share with you guys what was going on, because I thought it was taken care of in August. but I'm still dealing with it. I know this is kind of maybe a weird tangent video, something obviously I'm not used to posting, but I felt the need to share it with you guys. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you soon. I'll keep you updated on everything that's going on. Bye.